Thanks very much, Bruce. It's great to be in your company and your delegates' company and the company of your guests and guest speakers. And it is good to see a good turnout from the Central Canterbury area because we obviously do have some key speakers here today, and the Minister will certainly be right at the forefront of that. Apparently I can talk the hind legs off a Romney, according to John Morgan at the Dominion. I don't think I like that connotation or sentiment, but I'll try not to talk the hind legs off a Romney. It is good to have your Meat and Fibre Conference or Council in what is one of the food bowl areas of New Zealand. And driving down here today, you can see the variance of crops and animals that you just don't see everywhere in the country. This is quite a variable sort of production area, and good on you to have that diversity around here, because having all your eggs in one basket, as you know, as a sheep and beef farmer, doesn't always work. If you can actually have a mix, it's great. And I don't think they make taps here at all. I think the Methven name is not attributed to tap making in this area, but you know, perhaps that's what does need to be turned on here fully, is a tap, a big tap with a lot of water coming out of it. And what needs to be turned off here is the volatility and compliance tap, and then we'll all get on with life a whole lot better. Because effectively the compliance tap and the volatility tap has well and truly meant your profitability is down to a dribble at the moment. You know, they say Aussie is the lucky country, and it is. It's got mines, it's got a bit of water, it's got some land. As our Connor English, our CE says that we're the lucky country because we've got water and soil. Actually, we've got mining as well, if you allow it. But we've got an economy out of that as well. It's outstripped, the ag sector of that economy has outstripped every other sector of the economy for 3 of the last 25 years. We've provided 70% of the exports and 100% of the view. We packed down the scrum. We've had a good tight 5, but the flankers and the backs have acted like seagulls. And the glory and the scavenging has happened in that area. So it's pretty disappointing to me to stand in front of you knowing that I've probably only had, and you will have too, 2 decent years in the last 12. It's got to stop. The residue that resides inside the farm gate now is diminished to such a point that most of us are living on far less than an average New Zealand wage. And that's a nonsense considering the export potential that we generate. So I know you're going to talk about wool and meat issues, and that's logical. I hope you're not talking about the Melbourne Cup. That was a shocking result. And I just did some statistics on wool. In 1989, there was $1.8 billion worth of wool exported out of this country. It's not that long ago, 20 years ago. If you put it into 2009 dollar terms, that would be $2.82 billion, according to our economist. The amount that it's likely to be this year is $500 million, about a sixth. So what's gone wrong? We've had a vote, 20 years after, you know, we've got that history I've just given you. We've had a vote and we've said no to a levy. I'm disappointed that some are now questioning the sincerity of that levy, that vote. When I look back, there has been many reports in my farming life. I think the first one I read was the Patel report, then there was either the Arthur D. Little report or the Hussey report, and then the McKinsey report. All of them had a common thread for wool, and that was that you actually had to have ownership to at least the end of first stage processing as the grower. And if you look at it, that's probably what we've done in a lot of our sectors. Actually, we've never retained ownership through the value chain nearly far enough to capture the chunks that other people are now taking off us. I think the answers are all in those reports. I'm hearing that one of the wool companies in the finer end is actually doing or planning to do just that, take more ownership through the value chain. I note that, for instance, some of the best wool promoters in this country don't use, sorry, they're not promoting wool. Some of the best promoters of the product in this country don't even use the word wool. That's astounding. That's something that we should all recognise. And we should also recognise that wool is the one of the world's most green products. It should be much better, should be returning us much better cash in the pocket. So I could go on and on, but we know that currency volatility is knocking us around at the moment. We know that the sentiment is not great inside the farm gate currently. We had a decent year last year if you weren't in the droughted zones. Best year at about 6 for me in Southland. Of course, the dairy sector had its worst year at about 3 or 4. And things are ebbing and flowing, so nothing is easy for farming, but it never has been. And so I do like to say New Zealand is lucky because it does have farmers, it does have soils, it does have water, it does have crops that grow bulging kernels every day, it does have animals that pack on protein, it does have animals that add kilograms of milk solids. They never go on strike, they never moan, they just do the business. And I dare say New Zealand is even luckier that New Zealand farmers actually don't go on strike. You know, there's a lot of tension in the European countries. You observe it in the paper. These people, the farmers there, have a lot of privilege out of their societies, and they are still agitated to a serious degree when prices aren't good. New Zealand farmers don't do that, to their credit, but there's always people who say, I wish we would. I'll leave you with that thought. Thanks, Mr. Chairman. I'll call it quits then. Thanks very much. Last thing, sorry. Just this magazine has got a lot of good detail in it, especially Doug Steele's article about the state of the nation, basically. I think it's well worth a read. It should be in your mailbox today, tomorrow, later this week.